Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as always, we'll be talking about our weekly Torah portion, Parshas Tazria. Actually, we are in a good year, leap year. I don't know, most likely it's considered a good year because we double the happiest months of the year, but also because a lot of chapters that we read usually together, we read separately. Tazria and Metzora, those chapters that you usually read together, but now we have opportunity to talk about separately both of them, even though both of them talks mostly about one subject of leprosy, spiritual leprosy, and as you probably know, we learned from other sources in the Torah that the spiritual leprosy occurs only when person speaks lashon hara, evil speech, even gossip. There's a very wide definition of whatever considered lashon hara in Judaism. We learned from Moshe, who was kind of speaking not so preferably about the Jewish people, about Miriam, who was at her place speaking about Moshe, and they all got this spiritual leprosy. Then the person that got this leprosy comes to check up to the Kohen. Kohen see that it's actual, not the dermatological sickness, but a spiritual sickness, and send the person to be separated from everybody to the quarantine, where he or she sits for at least 7 days, and until they heal up, not to spread the sickness. Every morning when I wake up after the morning blessing, I always, I'm sure most of you, many of you have iPhone as well, so before the first screen there is a top news that are pushed to you by the Apple. And every morning after the morning blessings, I check those news and I look for one thing. I actually look for one thing not to find. I look if there are no news from Israel. Obviously there is algorithm that works according to what I say and what I look, and look at me, obviously I'm interested in what's going on in Israel besides the family matters, but when there are no news about Israel in those pushes in Apple News, that means that everything is okay. Why? Because the news industry works today in a way when something is not okay, then it will be pushed to you from all the holes, and you will not be able to miss it. Why? Because news need to sell the advertising, need to sell the airtime, and the negativity sells much better than positive news. That's why I hope not to see Israeli news. Interestingly, that the idea of the healing from spiritual leprosy, it's quite opposite. Because when a person says something wrong, if it's evil speech, he has to be secluded in a quarantine and sit quiet there and think about his or her behavior. Are completely opposite in the modern world when somebody says something wrong, or even really said something wrong. So you will have it tweeted and retweeted, posted and reposted, and that person that said it, he will start to justify himself, saying that it was taken out of context, and then there will be more responses, and the whole snowball will grow enormously to the complete stream of evil speech. But in the Torah, if you say something wrong, it's not about explaining, it's not about understanding, it's about be quiet. Just to stay quiet and understand that you say something wrong. Be by yourself. Don't spread the sickness. This is how you avoid the evil speech. Let us hope for the good news in the whole world, and particularly in Israel, that will not be spread like a sickness in the news channels. Thank you very much. Good luck. I see you next week.